This example here is an example of converting a rate. I'm given the rate of 55.7 miles per hour, and I want to convert that to kilometers per minute. What's different about this type of problem is that I have a unit conversion in the numerator, going from miles to kilometers, but then I also have to convert units in the denominator to go from hours to minutes. So my strategy for this problem here, and in general whenever I have these types of rate conversions, is that I'm going to make a plan for the units in the top. How do I get from miles to kilometers? When I look at my blue reference sheet, I see that I do have a direct relationship between miles and kilometers, and I can do this in just one step. Separately, I want to consider the units that are in the bottom, or the denominator. And in this case, I have to convert in the bottom hours to minutes. And I know that I can also do that in one step because I know 1 hour is 60 minutes, and that's going to be a separate step. So just like I do with any unit conversion problem, I've come up with my strategy. I have a plan for how I'm going to convert all of the units to get to that desired kilometers per minute. And I need an equivalence for each step. So I'm going to write down my equivalences here. I'm looking at my blue reference sheet as I do this. So for step 1, I needed a relationship between miles and kilometers. And I know that 1 mile is equal to 1.61 kilometers. So I looked up this relationship here, this equivalence. And for the denominator, I'm familiar with this. I know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So I have all the information that I need, and now I'm ready to set up this conversion. I'm starting in the same place. My number in front is always the one that's given to me in the problem, so here's my given. I'm going to start with this 55.7 miles, and then I'm going to write it a little bit different so it's just really clear to me to see which units are in the top and which units are in the bottom. So I'm starting with my 55.7 miles per hour as my number in front. I'm going to set up my first conversion factor. I'm looking at step 1. I'm going to convert those units in the top. I want to get rid of miles and I want to get to kilometers. Because I'm starting with miles in the numerator, so I've got that 55.7 miles in the top, I want miles to be in the bottom of my first conversion factor so that they cancel. So when I look at my first equivalence, I'm going to take the whole left-hand side, the 1 mile, and I'm going to put it in the bottom. And I'm going to put 1.61 kilometers on the top. And with this first step, I get rid of those units of mile, and I'm left with these units of kilometers in the top. Next, I'm going to do that second step, and I'm going to do it right in a row. So I'm going to set up another conversion factor. And now I'm going to convert the denominator. So I want to get rid of hours, and I want to get to minutes. I'm looking at my second equivalence. I know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. The thing that's different when I'm converting units in the bottom is that hours are starting at the bottom. In order to get them to cancel, when I look at my second equivalence, I want to put the 1 hour on the top and the 60 minutes on the bottom. When I set up the second conversion factor here, I'm canceling the hours that are in the denominator here with the hours that are in the top here of my conversion factor. These units of minutes are left over, and they're left over in the denominator. This is important because when I carry this through and I do my math, the units that I wanted to get to are units of rate. They have units in the top and units in the bottom. And my desired units are kilometers divided by minutes. So in my answer, I still want those units of minutes in the denominator. I am ready to do my math. So remember, if the number is 1, I'm going to ignore it. In my calculator, I'm going to type 55.7. I'm going to multiply by 1.61, and I'm going to divide by 60, and I'm going to get my answer here. Now, if I look at my number that's given to me in the problem, it has 3 significant figures. I'm going to round my answer so that I have 3 significant figures, and I'm reporting my answer here as 1.49 kilometers per minute. And this makes sense to me because a minute is not a very long period of time, so it makes sense that I would only go a much smaller distance when I'm considering the distance in kilometers. So only 1.49 kilometers for every minute. So I hope this video helps you as you work through these types of rate conversions where you're converting units both in the numerator and in the denominator.